Trying to see if I can make a comment on see. Welcome. You see something. Okay. Give everyone a welcome. Be with you in a moment. Let me get that. We all can right on. Okay, I am. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Those who you will visit. I have an interesting message that I'm surely going to bless you because it really and truly has blessed me. And I wasn't going to share it. And then I saw where this pastor in Florida uh, was arrested because he decided to go against the law and held service in his church, and he was arrested. And then the local news, one of the local the network news, has saying, "What are people going to do if they're not able to go into the church?" And then I saw this other church where a young man was standing out, and he had the church is not the building. So I saw three confirmation. I said, "Wow, I need to share it because I have not heard." Mostly when you listen to any message on the Christian channel, they always pre-recorded. You get a pre-recorded service. Rarely get a live. And if you do get a live, it'd be something about upcoming what you call it, festival or conference or something like that. So you don't really get a live feed unless they broadcast in that Pacific time. But mostly you get recorded in the storefront. But I want you to understand, I'm not coming from a position of condemnation. I'm not coming from a position of judging. I'm just sharing insight to make you think. And I'm sure if you really think about it, it will help you get through this coronavirus situation. A lot of us don't have jobs. We're in our homes. We wonder when we get the next paycheck or meals and food. And it's a new life. And I recall posting a lot of things over the months and years saying, always be prepared. And I'm quite prepared. Be prepared for anything that may happen. Some people are prepared. Some people didn't prepare. It's like waiting for a storm, and then when you see the storm come, then you run and try to stock up. But no, it's best to always be prepared. So I was thinking about that, and there again, no condemnation, no whatever, just sharing something. If you listen to what I'm going to share, I'm sure if you apply it to your life, you will feel better in the corona pandemic situation, and you can help you through. It's not about you. It's not always about us. It's about the other person having cares and concern. We should never, like me, I use myself as an, we should never think that, it don't, oh, I don't need to know this, I don't need to know that, who are you to tell me what to do? Who are you to tell me anything? I know more than you. I don't need to hear that mess or whatever people say. And I was like that. But then you learn from your experience. It's, oh, wow, I didn't know. I should have done this. I should have done that. And no, we can't be waiting until the situations fall upon us and then respond. So I hope my intention to cause you to think, my intention to cause you to think, if I touch one person I have done my job. If I touch one person that will take what I said and apply it to their life, then they will be much smarter, uh, informed on what to do and what not to do. So I want you to just close. I wrote the notes down and I typed them out, and I went back and read them. And I said, "Wow, if I had not wrote them myself, and I heard someone saying something like that, because I've been in this situation many years ago before I became the person I am right now. I was in the same situation in my early years. You know, you attending church, and you go to the church and you look for the church for this and that, and you go to church and you don't have your Bible, you just sit there and listen to what being preached or being said. And it's like going to a nightclub, get a stamp on your hand, and you walk out the door and you keep on living, and there's no change. You're just still doing the same thing. All you feel, your education, your wealth, your car, your property, or whatever, you know, put you in a better position than other person. But no, I had to learn the hard way. So I want this message to cause you to provoke a thought in your mind. It goes like, wow, that is me. I see some of myself in this. So let me begin. And it came to me when last Saturday morning, I was praying in my bed and about all kinds of things. And I also ask you all, begin to pray. Begin to pray. Begin to pray. Scripture says, my people shall humble themselves and seek my face and pray, and I will heal their land. One person can pray, another person can pray, another person. You have a group of players praying to God as you know him to be. So I want you to pray regardless. Don't look at the situation. Look at it through the eyes of God, not through your emotion, not through your friend, not through your family, not through the news media. Look through it from the eyes of God, and you should have peace in the situation, because this did not catch him off surprise, figuratively speaking. So I thought about laying in my bed, and I heard a thought in my mind is, the church is not the building, you are. And I figured, I said, So I was thinking in the form of 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. It can't be nothing else. So we all are experiencing some form of a no infection from the coronavirus pandemic. However, we are experiencing government-imposed distancing, stay at home, no handshaking, no hugging, cover your mouth when you cough, and much more. We are told not to gather in big crowds, and because of that, some individuals cannot attend church. What are some individuals going to do? Have some individuals fallen away from their faith? Have some people formed a phone conference Bible study? Have some individuals drawn closer to God? Are some individuals beginning to think like the world? Are some individuals praying to God for wisdom and discernment? To my Facebook friends and family members and those who will listen to this message in the future, and those who may have a copy of it and read it, the church is not the building, you are. We enter into that building to learn, to study, to understand about self. We read messages, we hear different things. We hear about our sinful nature, what we need to confess, what we need to do, this and that, to change our selfish lifestyle and to have a new mindset, because we enter the building for what purpose? To change the way we're thinking. Where would the pastor preach? What if the coronavirus did not exist and all the church building for some reason was destroyed? Where would the pastor preach? They could rent a space in another building, set up a group home, study, rent a conference in the motel rooms, or inside the school. I know in some states, for example, Florida, they allow pastors to rent, the cafeteria out, and they have the whole service in cafeteria. What would a pastor do that cannot preach or teach their congregation, especially if they do not have an existing website or any social media? Would their faith be tested? Think about this. What if some individuals do not attend a service inside a building and listen to messages from the internet that are not affected by not able to enter into a structure? as long as they don't look at the Bible study in their home or house as a church. What if there was no television, radio, social media to listen to? What would some individuals do? Think about this the next time you desire to be inside of what you call the church. You're living within a dwelling or an apartment. Some individuals are not living in a home. They are homeless, living in camps. I'm sure some homeless individual will not enter into a church building because they see no difference in what is inside that church building. So the next time you think about you want to be back into that church, think about other individuals who have no desire to. The church is not the building. It is you. During the crisis, are you manifesting the church inside your homes? And at your workplace, if you're told you must report to work because you have an essential job, are you doing a self-assessment of self? And from what you discover, are you confessing them, your sins, repenting, seeking God as you know Him for answers, what you need to do? Are you putting into practice what you learned in that building? Remember, you have time because of the quarantine. Are you married and praying together and conducting Bible studies with your family? If not, why not? Is it because some you attended church in a building, or because of your lack of knowledge you never even considered that it may be a time that you will have to teach it in your home? Have you decided to do something else instead of forming a new relationship with God as you know Him? Did the virus reveal your weakness as it pertained to God? I said again, did the virus reveal your weaknesses as it pertained to God? Have you decided to do nothing and wait until you can enter into that building? And who will you know what you do behind your walls? To those who call themselves Christians, we are told to be different, to be the light and the salt of the earth. Are you? Are you confusing the mind during this coronavirus? Do family members in your home that don't attend a service in a building see a change within you? Your behaviors and what you say your behavior and what you say cause them to want what you have? Are they asking you questions about your faith as it pertains to you and the virus? Remember, the church is not the building, it is you. We live in uncertain times where everything and anything can happen. The question you need to ask, what are you going to do? Because there is no church to attend. The question you need to ask, what are you going to do? Because there's no church to attend. There's a scripture in the Bible that reads, Jeremiah 31:33, but this shall be my covenant that I make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I'll put my law in their inward parts and write it in their heart, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. Hebrews 8:10, for this is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after the days, saith the Lord. I'll put my laws in their mind and write them on their hearts, and I'll be with them, and they shall be to me a people. Have you asked the Lord to put His laws in your mind if you're not sure they are there? I have this thought. What if all the Bibles was removed? We could be experiencing no Bibles, no physical building to enter into, as some people call the church, and the coronavirus all in one. What would you do? Some individual pray to the Lord. Some individual would pray to the Lord to put or reveal His laws in their minds. Others will want to enter into that physical building, hoping that their protection from the coronavirus or anything else, and some will look for a Bible. 3 options you have. Some individual will pray to God, say, please put your laws, put your word in my mind, because we have no Bibles. I can't go to the physical building to worship you that I thought was the church. And some will want to go into the physical building And then when they get into the physical building, they will run around trying to find a Bible. The building is not the church. The church is within you. To those who are following the Lord, there's a difference in following and attending attending a service within a building. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. You do not have to be inside a physical building to experience this verse, which is John 4:24. You don't have to wait to enter into a building to worship the Lord in spirit and truth. The building is only a gathering place. We are the church. Colossians 1:24. Who now rejoice in my suffering for you and fill up that which is behind of the affliction of Christ in my flesh for his body's sake, which is the church. Christ is the church. Colossians 1:18. As he is the head of the body of the church, who is in the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have preeminence. Jesus taught about the kingdom, not a physical building. And then I found something on the internet. It said a church is a translation, ecclesia, to identify the community of believers in Jesus Christ. It literally means assembly, congregation, or meeting. Similar term is used in the Old Testament referring to experiences such as the day of assembly, the Lord congregation, meeting before the Lord. In the New Testament, there's no synagogue, temple, chapel, tabernacle, building, or any other meeting place whatever called a church. That term was simply used when you see the church. It was a gathering place where people come together. The physical building was not a church. The church is not the building. Are you one of those individuals who are experiencing fear, saying, I don't want the coronavirus? Then you are the one who believes in the church building to give you some form of comfort. In the church, there's no fear. Fear causes us to be controlled by negative news from our thoughts, friends, and family members. We are the church where fear do not exist within our minds. Are you experiencing anxiety? Seek to free yourself from fear. We have no control as to where any virus will strike. I made this little story. Do you have the power to stop air from flowing? No. Any virus can be in the air, crossing into countries, homes, and any church building. No one is immune from an airborne virus. We have no control over what is in the air that might be harmful. Our bodies and our behavior will reveal it. The church is not the building. Don't rely on the building or say, I will be glad to be inside of it again. I miss it and so forth. You are the church. Work to strengthen yourself with what you have learned when you was inside the building. It will change your mindset toward peace, understanding, wisdom, and give you the knowledge that the Lord is in control of everything. May not seem to you, but he has a plan. What you see on the surface, what you see on the news, what you hear about, I always say there's always a backstory. What is this? What else? Think. I call it critical thinking. Begin to put 1 + 1 and see if you come up with 2. If it doesn't fit, if it doesn't add up, it got to be a backstory to all this is going on. You are the church. I'm sorry, Missy. The coronavirus has changed people's mind from the good or bad. You are the church. You should cause a change in other individual minds. You are the church. You should affect people like a virus, but differently. Inspire, educate, inform, show a caring spirit, dying to self, and help others if you can. Consider this. I had this little example. Consider this. When you are asked to flip a coin, we are told it's a head, it's a tail. The church building is I call it the tail. The church is not the building, I call it the head. The coin is flipped. When the coin lands on its surface, it will reveal you to you. From that moment, you will see head or tail. You must decide to change, head, or stay where you feel comfortable, tail. Did the coronavirus expose you as it pertains to the church building? Where is your faith? Did you leave it in the church building? Your faith should be from knowing that you have or should have a relationship with the mind of Christ that is within. You will not be guided by what other individuals say or from negative news. You are the church, not the building. When you begin to realize that, then you will transform into the church from where you will experience Christ's Spirit within you, will flow out into the world, cities, state, countries, counties, and cause a new mindset, an air flowing with understanding and peace and wisdom, attaching itself to those who know that the church is not the building. The church is not the building. I read somewhere that corona means crown. So I looked it up. It does mean crown. It's Latin. It means a crown or a wreath. And then I said, wow, where did I see that in the Bible? Then I found a few scriptures. Enemies I will clothe with shame, but upon him his crown shall shine. 2 Timothy 4:8. In the future there laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which is the Lord. The righteous judge will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have loved his appearing. James 1:12. Blessed the man who blessed the man who perseveres on the trial, for once he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to those who love him. It means crown. And I thought about it, I said, wow, that could mean the mind of Christ manifesting in us, cover our mind, living through us, manifesting through us. We recognize that we are the church, not the building. As I mentioned, the building can be torn down or burned up or destroyed completely. All the Bibles can be taken away from us. We can be locked up, told to stay in our house. Some people fear because they can't go to the church and say, oh, I got to be in the church. I got to pray to God. Oh, Lord, the church. And I must say, a lot of individuals, from my experience, talking and observing, they do look at the building as the church, not themselves as the church. Because some do come to church with no Bible, no study, just take what's being said, and that's all they need. And then when time and trouble hit their way, they try to call a pastor, can't be reached. They try to call someone in church, in the physical building. They can't get into it, and they're locked in their home or whatever, and they don't know what to do. And that's, it might be, I'm not being cruel and I'm not being harsh, but that's the fact, because I've been there. I attend church. I attend that church building on any given day of the week when they have some kind of service. And I took my Bible, and sometimes I did not take my Bible when I went to church. I played church. I got a rubber stamp so I was there, but I still did a lot of things I should have not done when I left the building. So the building was my faith. The building, I felt good in the building. I felt comfortable. I felt I was something in the building. So I never really, when I was young, I never really looked at it as saying, wow, if we begin to look at ourselves as the body of Christ, will we be sleeping around, fornicating, having adultery, whatever we can think of? If we begin to look at ourselves as the church, because there are scriptures in it that say what we do with this body is not our own. If we begin to look at our body as just a body where God or Satan dwell within us, then we may begin to start behaving differently. So it's not the body that gets us in trouble, it's the spirit that we allow to manifest through us that causes us the problem. You can tell where you're dwelling in that very moment by the things you say and the things you do. For example, a person who's drinking alcohol is dwelling in that area of alcohol, that mindset. One who smokes cigarette, one who fornicate, adultery, illicit sex, or whatever you can think of, that is where they're dwelling in their mind. So you don't have to really ask the person where about themselves. They will tell you in the form of a conversation of their behavior. So we really begin to look at ourselves as the church. And then when trouble comes across our path, our country, our city, we can bow down and pray and seek God in prayer. And what happens? A change shall occur. This message is going out into the spirit world, whether anyone listens to it or not. Because I'm quite sure some individuals out there are looking, have looked, and feel bad that they can't go into the church. Some pastors, evangelists, and ministers cannot teach and preach because they don't have means to preach and teach to the people, because they have no internet, they have no website, they have no nothing to communicate with the people. So they basically have to wait until the order is, let's go back to the church. And when they do come in, they can't pay their tithes, they can't do anything in the church. So the church is the building that they look for their faith and whatever is empty. And they feel empty within inside because they cannot go to the physical building. Are you going to be one of those individuals whose mind is on the lack of being? Are you going to be one of the individuals whose mind is going to be being inside, lack of being in the building? Let me say it again. Are you going to be one of these individuals whose mind is on of lack of being into the building? Or are you going to be one of these individuals say, I'm going to recognize that I am the building, I am the church, I must have the mind of Christ, not the Holy Spirit. I must have the mind of Christ. I must begin to think in Him. I must begin to think, ask Him. If you don't have it, just simply, ask Him, because when I start thinking with the mind of God, then I begin to look at things totally different, because I've been told that I am the church. So when I pray and when I do things and consider to do this or that, I know that I represent the church. That is the mind of Christ manifesting through you. The mind of Christ can manifest through you during the corona pandemic or any other future event. Every week or every day or ever since this virus, did you ever thought that we would be experiencing something like this a month ago? No. Did you ever thought that we run out some place run out of toilet paper? No. Did you ever thought that you'd be in your home with a lot of restriction, a lot of businesses closed up, can't serve, we don't have a normal lifestyle anymore. We have to wait until we get orders to go back to what we consider to be normal. We're not going to go back to normal because things have changed. So what changed? The mindset of the community, the mindset of the state, the mindset of the government, the mindset of the world. Because not only America is being affected by this, all over the world. All over the world. So all I ask you to do is begin to pray for understanding and wisdom. And begin to, if you see yourself in this message, if you heard something that makes you go, wow, I never looked at it that way. I have been thinking that the church is the building. Imagine if everyone be honest with themselves and say, wow, I need to begin to start thinking that I represent the church. Because if all the Bible is taken as I mentioned, I know that the Spirit of God, His mind, if I ask, can be in me. And therefore, the Bible, as I know it to be, will be, figuratively speaking, God will speak it to me or spiritually put it in me. So I don't really need a physical Bible. I don't need to be in a physical building because I represent the church. So I can go where He tell me to go. I can do what He tell me to do. I can say what He want me to say because it's His mind thinking through me to make a change. It's His mind thinking to all of us who agree with this message that you are not, the church is not the building. So it's my hope to those of you who will listen to this message will have a new mindset as to what has been revealed to you. We're living in times where truth is frowned upon. We're living in a time where people think that that's for them. I don't need to know that. Who you to tell me this? Who you to tell me that? I'm me. I got money. I got a house. I got this. This is me. But when we focus only on ourselves, how can we help the next door person that need help? Or the person we pass on the street and the highways and byways, if we are sent and led to help them. If everyone is self-centered on self, if everyone is self-centered on self, and some of the self-individual that's focusing on self is worrying about, I need to get into that physical building because that's where my hope lies, then guess what? Guess what? So the thing is, the church, or whatever, the church building, the building is not the church. You are. In the midst of the coronavirus, you can have peace because you know that you don't have to go to that building. Some states, some places, people can't go to church to worship God as they want. Some are crying, some are sick, some are miserable. Some people just don't know what to do because they relied on that building as they faith, as their support. So it's not about the building, it's about you. When you begin to recognize that you represent the church, and like I use myself as an example, people say don't play church or don't play with God or whatever the case may be. So as I mentioned, I use myself as an example to let you know that we all have done things, we all have lived a life or living a life that we're not pleased with or don't want to change or feel we can't change. But yes, in the eyes of God, we all can change. He changed me from what I used to do back in the day to what I am now. You know, I wish I had someone in the past that I can say, oh man, I used to listen. Well, when I was growing up, believe it or not, young people who I told this in college class, y'all are young people think that we had the internet for years and years. But when I was growing up, we did not have the internet. I was growing up, we had beepers, pagers. Phone used to be on the corner, every corner in the block. So a lot of young people are born in a world that they think everything that they have now that we had back then. But no, so I'm living in two worlds. I lived in the past and I'm living right now. So all I'm saying to you, in this message I point out, you are the church. The building is not. So if you like what you heard, listen to it over and over and get it in your spirit. It's not about condemning. It's not about pointing the finger and saying you this and I'm that. No, it's about educating you because like I mentioned, when we listen to Christian stations now, a lot of them are pre-recorded messages. And very rare you might see a conference live or whatever. And there's no, I saw a mega church pastor on a regular news, on a regular station, and he's talking about this and that, but he never say, let us come together and pray to God to heal our land or something to that effect. He might have prayed whatever, but he's well known. That would have did a lot if he was to say that. So we should not be afraid, those of us who call ourselves Christian, we should not be afraid to say the part is black, the part is white, or whatever term you want to use. We must realize that we are the church. To get us through this coronavirus, if you're thinking that you got to get in that physical building, if you're thinking, the way things going on right now, if we live in a world where you can't worship God, and they don't want you to worship God, then what next? Are they going to take the Bibles away and say you can't have the Bible? Then what you going to do? I shared in this message that you can have the mind of God by simply asking him to put his mind in you. So when he put his mind in us or refresh us or give us an increase, what happens? He be speaking to us. In the outside world, yeah, coronavirus, okay. Oh, this virus, okay, that virus. Yeah, I can't stop the air. I can stay in my house right now, and I'm still breathing air. I can go outside and breathe the air. I can wear a mask or don't wear a mask. Yes, I must take safety precautions, but I can't control what's in the air. You may be living in one city across town. Another person is living across town. You're still breathing the same air. I'm not breathing physically the air that you blow out your mouth, but we all breathing a collective air passing through. So the wind blows it takes the virus here, it takes the virus there, it takes the virus there. So we can't control any virus that comes upon us, but we can control the mind that we are thinking with. And by thinking with the mind of God as we know him to be, we can get through this coronavirus. And the key is, if my people humble themselves in prayer and seek me in prayer and call upon me in prayer, things can change. Then it will be a new wind, a new virus coming from God as you know him to be, touching people and causing them to wake up. And a new change will begin. Will it get worse? I don't know. I didn't think it'd get. We have to wait another month until we get the decision to go back to normalcy, whatever that may be, a month from now. But begin to understand that you are the church, not the building, not the building, not the building. So those who enjoy what I just shared, I also tell you that I will upload this on my YouTube channel. You can go to my YouTube channel, The Hidden Tears of a Black Male, and just go and look at the video and see all the videos that I posted. A lot of them are spontaneous. Then you can check out my other channel, Gunny and Knifey. The other channel I call Football No Football, and my other channel I call Behind the Bad See What I See. And then I just getting into starting my t-shirt business. You can see Tony's Creation. So I'm looking at squeezing the M. I thought about it the other day, and I closed by saying this. All of us should know the guy who does the pillow, My Pillow guy. He came up with a pillow. After doing it for 2 years, he finally came up with a pillow. But did he start with the pillow? No. He got sheets, he got blankets, he got pillowcases, he got all kinds of stuff relating to pillow kind of stuff, merchandise. Then he got this new small pillow you can go on the airplane, you can put around your neck. He got this new one I saw out that you can carry wherever you want to go. So what he did, he's maximizing his product. He's maximizing his idea. We don't go into a store and see one bottle of Clorox and one box of detergent. We see multi variation of that same product. So we must come out of the box and begin to think like the My Pillow guy. We must look in the mirror and say, what gift do I have? We must look in the mirror and say, okay, what can I do? I'm in the midst of this self-imposed confinement. You know, what should I be doing? Look deep within myself and say, what talent do I have? What have I neglected? What have I kicked to the curb? What should I be doing with my life? Why am I here? What is my purpose here? So I want to get married, have kids, do whatever, and that's fine. But what is your purpose? Do you have a purpose that the world can benefit from? Do you have a purpose? People say, wow, I remember so-and-so, he was straight, she was straight. And I have all these videos out, and what, God willing, whenever my time comes, people say, well, I remember him. I didn't like what he said, but he was straight to the point. You know, he hit the nail on the coffin. He really was straight. But so we all have a purpose. I'm getting at. Find your purpose, and when you find your purpose in life, begin to broaden it. Be a tree. Have an octopus like a tentacle, like the My Pillow guy. Have more ideas on top of the other idea and the other idea and other idea. You don't have to depend. So when we recognize that we are not the church, and the church is in us, then it's God, as we know him, manifesting through you and I. He begins to attach himself to us. He speaks to us. Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't do that. Don't do that. Say this, say that. And we have a choice to do it or not do it. You know, we live by the consequences. I a firm believer in that because I experienced it and still experiencing it. So we don't escape. But what I'm telling you today, we're living in a time where anything can happen. And your strength, your peace, your comfort, your joy, your provision, everything can be coming from the mind of God, manifesting through you. You're sitting at home, you're sitting in your car, You're going to and from whatever. You say, oh, that's the church I used to attend. Maybe one day we'll be back in there, worship each other. But that church has no power. It's empty. The power lies in me. If I believe it can lie and be in me, and when the time comes, then I can use it. When I'm instructed to use it. So think about it. Think about it. The church is not the building. It is you. The church is not the building. It is you. You like what you heard? Share it with other people. Allow them to hear it. Because I'm quite sure there are people right now have lost their hope. I heard some suicide rate is going up. People don't even know what to do. They have given up. They have no hope. Some believe that there's no existence for God. Some believe in whatever, in their money, in their funds or whatever. Some just doing what they normally do, like no big old thing. They're going, the TV still comes on. They're still playing reruns. The news still come on. They're still advertising. They're still doing this. The talk show's still on. Everything is in some form of normalcy. So it's like, where's the disconnect? We must always be aware of our surroundings, so we can't be captured mentally, spiritually, from the lack of knowledge. We can perish for lack of knowledge. We can perish. You are the church. If you have not heard it, did not understand it, kind of thought about it, allow this message to sink in. Listen to it over and over and over again. And when you come to realization where you are, what you should be doing, what you should change, then just simply say, God, forgive me, please help me. I recognize that I am the church. I want to do what you want to do. I want to stop doing what I need because I know I'm going to suffer from the consequences, or I'm experiencing consequences of my action. I can't get away from that. If everybody who go to the physical building, like when I was going, when everybody go to that physical building and look at that physical building as a place of just getting together and worshiping God as we know him to be, and then go in the building with that mindset and recognize that we are the church, then our behavior should not be as the world. The things we do and the things we say and the things we see people doing and partaking of, it'll be totally different. Totally different. And I'm quite sure you heard this. I'm not going to church. It's just like they're a bunch of hypocrites. They're doing the same thing I'm doing. A homeless person walked by the church. Why I need to go in there? They won't accept me because how I look. I'm going to close with this. I saw this, you probably can see it. It was a new pastor about to take over a church. People never met him. So he dressed up, old looking, homeless looking, sitting outside the church steps or wherever. And a lot of the people coming to church, they kind of went around him. They kind of stand off him. They looked at him with, disgust. And some people kind of they basically ignore him. What I'm getting at, like whatever. So the church was filled up with the people. They waiting for the introduction of the new pastor. He said he was sitting in the back. He would come from the back row, walk down the aisle, walk up on the stage. And imagine what happened. Half of those people who walked by him in disgust were shocked because he was shocked at their behavior. They was manifesting themselves as the church? No. They was manifesting themselves as the building. We're going to go to this building and see who our new pastor is. We want the building, our new pastor to be in this building. We're going to grade him. We're going to see if he meets our criteria. Because the person that they kind of ignore or felt disgust for, they just, and he quote the scripture, when I was young, when I was old, when I was in jail, whatever. So a person who's manifesting the church would not be concerned only with themselves. Only with themselves. I'm not saying give out your money, give it away. I'm not saying that. But we need to be mindful, critical thinkers to make a difference in someone's life that they're going to say, wow, they made a difference in my life. Where I have given up, where I've given, imagine if we was to help anyone with words or financial or just words of encouragement, words of support, just give them information. We don't know what that information, what support or what financial help have caused them to turn their life around and say, you know what, because of you show me whatever, it caused me to change my life around. That is a person exercising that they are in church. Because you know and I know, a lot of people are going to the physical building to seek help, and they look and say, oh, you're not a member here, we can't even help you. Oh, you only been here 2 times, we can't help you. Oh, you know, we can't, you know, you're not paying any tithes. We don't even know, our money is just for members. And the person walks away, either kill himself or give up. So remember this message. It's my hope, that it caused a change within you. Thank those of you who listen. Thank you, Brother Milton, Eddie. Nice seeing you. Haven't seen you in years. But share with people. Lord willing, I'll be back next time with another interesting message.